Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Social Web Cafe interview. Today we have Justin Germino with us.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
So much. If you just visit dragonblogger.com, and I know you also have other blogs and other websites. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. As everybody knows, my name is Justin Germino. I'm a part-time technology and entertainment blogger. I do run Dragonblogger.com as well as 6 other sites. I started blogging back in 2008. I kind of got bit by the blogging bug early on after I saw how fun it was to share my passions and ideas online. So I decided to just pretty much blog about anything and everything. Then I realized having one site where you're sharing everything and unrelated topics may not be the best thing, so I started branching off separate sites to isolate my topics of interest. Dragonbloggers kind of always stayed centered around my 3 core: gaming, blogging, entertainment, and technology. So I guess 4 core elements for Dragonblogger.
I noticed that they were kind of different aspects of Dragonblogger, but yet they all tie together really well. You're also known for giving your summaries, like your earning statements. I think that's how I probably first heard about you. I thought, wow, this guy is actually sharing with us how he earns money on Dragonblogger. Do you get a lot of positive feedback on that?
From a lot of smaller bloggers, new bloggers, people who were desperate to try to figure out how to earn a little bit extra income from their websites. You got to remember that most people, when they go into blogging, they do it for 2 reasons. A, they just like sharing their opinions online. They use it as kind of like an online diary for their families. Whereas others are looking for another source of income. Maybe they need to augment their day job with a side job, but they don't want to like work 2 jobs. And so they go online seeing that other people can make it, especially from the flashy claims that you can make a lot. And it's not that easy. So I always started it that I was going to share everything I did. It's an experimentation. It's a hobby. Every program I try to monetize my blog, make money from, share with my readers, share with other bloggers so they can learn from my mistakes, maybe either emulate and see if they can achieve the same results, do better than me, and compare and say, hey, I got less traffic, but I was able to bring in this income, or just what works for me, what doesn't work for me, so they can help get a informed decision so they can find their own path.
That was one of the things that really drew me to visit your site, was the transparency, that you actually share the things that work, but you also share the things that haven't worked. Even the discussion on PageRank, that was really interesting.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not like I've been penalized. To review programs like, programs that pay bloggers to put links in articles or sponsor links in articles, it's against Google's terms of service. I took the risk. I tested out a few programs to report to my routers, and Google slapped me through Webmaster Tools, told me they were stripping me of all my PageRank, which they did. I had a PageRank 0 for over a year until I was able to finish my review of those programs, meet the commitments that I had signed up to, remove all the links afterwards, and then Google reestablished my PageRank after. But it was part of the experiment to share that type of information with my readers.
But that's excellent that you're able to, keep your commitments, and you kept the Dragonblogger community going in spite of Google slapping you. I mean, that says a lot. It really does, Justin.
The interesting thing is when my PageRank used to be a PageRank 4, and then it dropped to a PageRank 0. I never saw traffic go down. I was always at around 60,000 visits per month. There was never a decrease in traffic, even though my PageRank was completely diminished and abolished. So even though Google stripped my PageRank, they didn't deliberately block my site from showing up in the SERP results for my keywords and things like that. So fortunately, it did not hurt that much as far as my audience and my readership. It just really hurt. Other advertisers just stopped contacting me because obviously you can tell the advertisers who want to advertising on a site because they want some PageRank juice versus the ones who care about the traffic or the attention.
Right, that makes sense. So based on all of these different experiments that you've tried and all of your experience, what would you say is the key to your success as far as blogging?
Probably being genuine and authentic. I used to do a lot of video broadcasts, and I still do a lot, but I do a lot more screencasts now. Is when you're going to talk to your audience, you have to show them who you are. When you create a blog and you start, do it about your passions. Don't have no interest in one subject and yet you want to start a blog on that subject, because your lack of passion for that subject is going to show in your writing. You're going to lose focus. You're going to lose interest. So be genuine, be open, be honest. When you review products, if you'd like doing product reviews, which I like doing because I'm a real consumer tech gadget freak, so I love doing product reviews, be open and genuine. Obviously, advertisers give me products to review, and if I find faults in a product, you don't want to slam the advertiser and make them look bad because they gave you the product to review, they did you that favor, but you do want to point out areas where a product could use improvement and do it in a professional way, where it was lacking, where it could use some improvement, what you liked about it, but be genuine and honest. But you don't need to necessarily slam something unless that's your shtick. Everybody has a shtick online, and standing out online and having a unique personality and finding what your unique personality and style is important too.
So if you're Andrew Dice Clay or some of the others, and that's how you make your living, that's different. But you like to be kinder to the advertisers and not slam them. They have taken the time, like you said, to give you the product or the service to try.
Right. I take the approach where I think everything is amazing. I mean, everything is a creation of somebody or a company or a collective of people who put something together. So the fact that anything works at all is amazing to me. So I'd look at it like, A, is it good value? Because obviously you're willing to skimp on some features if the value's there. Is it a high value but maybe it's not worth it? And so you look at all those aspects when you review something. People will often give a bad review to a product that's half the price of another product, but you got to scale down what you expect in features if the product is cheaper.
That's a very good point. And I like how you said that it's somebody's creation, somebody's brainchild, somebody, dreamt this, carved this out of nothing, and being able to take the human element into consideration or review is very thoughtful of you.
Well, yeah, I'm just a fan of technology, games, gadgets, and you know what? I look at it as artistry, right? So everything that makes somebody's life easier, somebody's life more enjoyable or more entertaining, and all that stuff is just fascinating to me. Because I have no
Excellent.
inventive capability whatsoever. I'm not, that technical that I could actually create anything. So I'm always amazed by it.
Well, you've created a following and you've created a community, so you are a creator. That's excellent. Now, you have a team of people that write for you, is that correct?
I do now. Over the last 18 to 20 months, I've started bringing in freelance writers to help increase more content on the site, as well as help focus. I couldn't cover every single topic all the time, so I needed to bring in people who had passion for these categories. So I've brought in video game writers, and I just brought in a new guy, Colby Mort, just started with me a few weeks ago, and he covered Black Ops 2 and this new iOS application called Sphero, which is pretty cool. It comes with like this little robotic ball that you control with your Android or iPhone app, and you can roll it around on the ground with the app and make it do things and program it. So that's kind of cool. So he's writing for us, and then I've had some writers who've been with me, like Mitra Faridian, who's been with me for a long time. She covers a lot of entertainment-related items. She did a huge section of Pottermore last year, which brought in hundreds of thousands of readers to my site when Pottermore was just the craze. I mean, it was a huge traffic driver. And then I've got other writers who cover blogging topics. I'm still looking for people who could do more Linux and Ubuntu Linux topics. So I find staff writers and people who have a passion for a specific subject, and then I bring them on to write for the site about those subjects.
Do you advertise for writers, or do they tend to find you, or you just connect through the network?
I have a call for writers out that I occasionally publicize when I'm actively looking for writers. Right now I'm at a staff of about 11. And it mostly comes when I have my site budget builds up to where I feel like I can bring on additional writers, or I have a gap, or I lose a writer. Because a lot of my writers, people who blog for my site, because it's freelance, right? It's not going to be like a day job, and you can't quit your day job to be a part-time writer for a blog. So they're often kids in college, kids in high school, or between college and high school. And so they'll get busy with classes and schedules. I'll lose writers as they go on to move other bigger, better things. So some of my writers have rotated through the years. And when I lose a position, I look for another backfill for that position. Or if I feel like my site's getting a little too light on certain content, then I'll specifically call for writers who want to cover these topics and things like that.
So now, do you get people to write about your contest, or how do you gain that traction with the contest?
For the Lenovo laptop giveaway, I did partner with around 20 other bloggers initially, and I kind of reached out on Facebook. I'm saying, hey, I'm running this contest. I'm looking for people who want to be co-hosts, where they'll embed the contest in their site as well. And as kind of like a reward, basically, if the winning entry comes from your blog, because one of the questions to enter the contest is which blog did you enter this contest on, and you put the URL of the blog you enter on. So if the winning entry came from your blog, you win $50 cash for hosting the winning entry. So it's kind of like a little incentive to write about the contest and host it on your site as well, because if you host the winner, you get $50 cash. So I try to do little creative things like that to encourage others to write about the contest and do posts about them. That way they can get that little incentive that if they host the winner, things like that. It's worked out well. There's been some sites that have contributed thousands and thousands of entries, but obviously most come from Dragonblogger, but there's been some sites that have gotten thousands of entries, and some users have gotten thousands of entries too. So it increases their odds, although it is a random winner that's going to be selected.
Hey, may I borrow that technique? I love that technique. That's a great idea.
Yeah, it works out really well. And to initially encourage I said I'll have a personal thank you with a link to all bloggers' homepages who co-host right off the bat. So I created like a table, and said thanks to Fon co-sponsors and link to all the homepage and stuff like that, give them some recognition. I try to partner really well with my co-sponsors. Now, those who actually become true co-sponsors of the contest, like, they'll contribute, like funding. Like, I'll go half-half with another blogger. Like, I went half-half with Daily Techie, and his Facebook and social media accounts are added to my widget. So you basically have to follow his accounts to gain entries, just like my own. So it basically grows his following. So I like to make sure people who do invest in the contest see a return on investment. Basically, they have to have a good ROI, better than they would if they would have purchased a banner ad on another site, or better if they would have purchased Google AdWords. My goal is to make sure that if you're going to advertise, you're going to help sponsor a contest, you're going to see a better return than if you invested that money in something else.
Excellent. Now, where do you see Dragonblogger in the next few years? What are your goals?
I look kind of like my model site is Ars Technica, which is like the mecca of tech blogs, in my opinion. I mean, whereas, everybody's got Mashable for social media news and information on that kind of stuff. Ars Technica is kind of like the technical blog of choice. They cover everything except movies and entertainment. They cover the video game, they cover the tech, they cover the gadgets, they cover the Apple and stuff like that. And that's kind of like my motto for where I want to go, turning into kind of like an online magazine like that, except because mine's a blog, whereas that's more of a magazine. I'm more about editorial opinions, two-way feedback, conversations, getting readers to contribute and share what they want to know about or what questions they have, and tailoring content based on what readers want to know. Though I do some of the news articles too, I don't tend to try to just repeat what Mashable says or TechCrunch. And so when they throw up the latest article about a tech story, I'm not the next one to throw it up. I'll put maybe something about it later on with my own opinion after I've read about it from 20 other sites, and then I'll have a collective, a personal opinion, and then I'll do my own post about it. But I'm not just a rehash of the breaking news that's other sites. I try to keep unique information. I try to think of what people are going to search for, what will help them in the day-to-day lives, what will be of interest to them, things like that.
But that makes it unique content then. I like that it's not just a rehash, as you said.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is, chances are, people who do just try to rehash stories, just reword it around, they're never going to rank in the SERP compared to the big sites anyway, so there's no point in really even attempting it. It's really difficult. So I'll continue to grow my site. My goal is to get to 4 to 5 published articles per day. I'm at 1 to 2 right now. There for a while I was at 3 articles per day. I want to keep doing content. I want to give content in every one of my 4 major categories every single day, so at least people who are following the site for a specific category can come back every day, and not, oh, there's only a game review every 4 days, so I'll only come back. That's the only part that interests me. So I'm trying to keep it to where I have each category covered every single day. So that's going to take about 4 to 5 articles per day, and I'm not quite at that level where I can produce that much content per day yet for the site. So that's my goal. Continue giving more giveaways, continue building partnerships with companies and advertisers. I get a lot of great partnerships right now. Hauppauge Gaming Zone is one of my big partners, as well as Kingston Technology right now. I'm looking to expand further. Like the Lenovo laptop giveaway, Lenovo didn't give me a laptop. I purchased that with, partnering with another blogger and putting my own money into it. But I would like to eventually partner with bigger companies, so that way some of these prizes can be, fielded by the companies themselves, or they'll actually give me the products to review. Because obviously, if you have to buy the product to review it, I'm way behind the curve on being able to review everything. So I need companies to actually send me the product so I can review it. Even if I send it back, I just need to be big enough so that they're willing to send me the product to review, or else I have to purchase it myself and review it, which obviously that delays how many products I can actually review.
That makes sense. And so you're building up a portfolio as far as your reviews and your credibility, and so that the bigger companies like Lenovo will say, hey, this is the guy that we need to review our next great laptop.
Oh yeah, and since I started doing my contests, which I only really started last year with my Kindle Fires, I mean, I've done little ad hoc contests there, but I really started, and I always do at least 1 a month. I do, sometimes 2 or 3 a month, but 1 a month is my minimum. And I've really started getting a lot of notice from advertisers with the contests. I mean, when my contests are getting 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 entries, they start getting noticed. And PunchTab, which runs my latest contests, notices my contests, and they've made 3 enhancement requests in their contest service based on my feedback and recommendations, and they put those in within 30 days so that my contests can be more productive and easier on the readers too.
Rafflecopter is out there too, but you use PunchTab for all your contests?
I was using Rafflecopter for all my contests until a few months ago. I like Rafflecopter too. Rafflecopter has some advantages and some disadvantages to PunchTab. When I did my iPad giveaway, I had 45,000 entries. That's what really brought out the disadvantages of Rafflecopter for me. In Rafflecopter, to enter a contest, there's a button that says I did this. So you have your choice, like follow on Twitter, follow on Facebook, and then you click I did this afterwards. But there's no system of mechanism that actually validates. So somebody could come in and just click I did this for all the entries and not actually do the entries, yet they would get the entries in the contest. So this skews the results. Then you're left as the contest moderator to go in and validate the entries and see if they actually did them, if they actually became a follower, if they actually subscribed to the YouTube channel. And the moderation time, the amount of false entries throws off, the ratio and things like that. So it became too much to moderate with the big contests. Now they do allow custom contest entries, which PunchTab doesn't. But PunchTab was better overall. Now PunchTab, you can't get the entry unless you do the follow. They have it tied into the API for Twitter and Facebook. So you basically have to follow, and then it gives you the entry when it records the follow. So therefore, there's no way to fool it. You can't get false entries and things like that. The only disadvantage with that is if you were already following somebody, it doesn't give you the entry automatically. You have to unfollow and refollow so that it could trigger that follow and give you the entry, which is kind of annoying because I could see the unfollows and refollows on my Twitter account as people enter the contest. So it's a little bit annoying. There's a lot of people when they see a lot of unfollows, they'll mass unfollow back or things like that. But when you run these kind of contests, you kind of slide with it, not pay attention to your follow stream as a result.
I entered a contest. It might have been one of your contests, and the PunchTab. It's like, oh no, I have to unfollow. They're going to get a notification that I unfollowed and think it's personal. But that was the only drawback as far as why I didn't switch to PunchTab.
Yeah, and they're working on to fix that. They're going to make it so that it knows, the API knows you're already following, and will give you the credit. Confirm and give the credit without having to do the unfollow and follow. So I expect that we'll have that feature improved soon.
Excellent, because I think that was the only drawback that I saw as far as using it as a user on PunchTab.
And it's a drawback for the person, especially if you have an advertiser, right? And then suddenly the advertiser thinks that they're being unfollowed and refollowed. But for someone who's running the contest and 67,000 entries, I'd rather have that and knowing it's being validated than have to look through and confirm everybody actually followed it and then just click I did this,
That makes sense. And I know what you mean about the moderation on the Rafflecopter, because I've had that where, especially when I'm trying to do it during a Twitter chat, I'm trying to verify, and I'm gone for like 20 minutes because, oh, nope, this person didn't really do this. They just clicked, I did this, and going through that. So I understand that frustration.
Well, Rafflecopter did have the custom entry. I really liked Rafflecopter. In my Kindle Fires last year, one of my custom entries was create a YouTube video of yourself showing why you want the Kindle Fire, who's it for, and stuff like that. And it was really fun. I had moms going on creating YouTube videos about why they wanted it for their kids. I had, people go on and create their own YouTube videos of, saying I entered the contest from Dragonblogger.com, and it was really fun to see. And I had a lot of people participate, and you're able to give more entries based on the entry, right? So a YouTube video was worth 25 entries, where just following on Twitter is worth 1. So that aspect of Rafflecopter I really like, and I wish PunchTab had. So when I want to do a more creative contest where there's creative entries, Rafflecopter is still the key there. So it really just depends on what type of contest you want to run, what type of entries you want to offer, and then you choose between, what contest method works best for you. I like Rafflecopter and PunchTab both. They both have features the other one doesn't have. Neither one completely overrides the other. So I just alternate between the two based on my contest needs.
So final question for you. Where do you see Justin in like 5 years? Are you going to continue with the blogging, do you think, as a hobby, or do you want to see this as the Dragonblogger enterprise?
That's a really good question. I did foresee potentially turning Dragonblogger into LLC at some point in the future. Believe it or not, my blogging efforts have affected my kids' lives. My youngest son, who's 9, now runs content on YouTube, records himself his video game play, and I run a YouTube channel for him, because you can't create a YouTube channel if you're under 13. So it's my YouTube channel, but he creates all the content for it, and he has kind of like his own video game channel. And both my kids, my 6 and 9-year-old, have their own blogs, which they on and off contribute to. But they've started. They see my blogging, my Dragonblogger. They know me as Dragonblogger. They like get excited when they see my YouTube videos and like, Dad, that's your YouTube video. I'm like, so it's kind of intertwined with all of our lives, and it's created inspiration to them. They've become more interested in learning blogging and learning about creating like screen captures and stuff like that, and screen recording software. So I think it's just a part of me now at this point. I don't think I'd sell the site unless it was for some absurd offer, and then all I do is take that and reinvest into something else, because I'm pretty sure I could build up anything pretty much the same way using the same methods, probably faster than it took the 4 years to get Dragonblogger where it is. So I don't think I'd sell it off, because Dragonblogger is kind of like tied to my identity. My logo is based on a tattoo I have on my arm, which I got before I started the site, and kind of, so I don't think I would sell it off. I don't think that's in the future, especially when your social media accounts are tied to your blogging identity. How are you going to sell Dragonblogger when I'm Dragonblogger on Facebook, Dragonblogger on Twitter. I mean, those are my identities. People know me as the account, as the site. There's no real way to separate that. If you ever wanted to like sell your site off, you wouldn't anyway tie your personal identity to it. You would create separate accounts. Like I did that with a smaller WordPress blog called WP Cypher, which I do just WordPress plugin reviews, WordPress related information. This one has its own WP Cypher Twitter account, WP Cypher Facebook account. Absolutely not tied to me and my personal identity, though my name's on the signatures. I could potentially sell it off at some point in the future because it's not directly tied to my identity like Dragonblogger is.
Some really good advice for people thinking about starting a site. Very key if you have something that actually involves your name, or in your case, kind of a nickname that's become you. How do you separate that without separating yourself? Yeah. Unless, like you said, an absurd amount of money.
Right, and it's in a catch-22 because the personality, when your personality is invested in your site, I think it has more of a chance to gain traction, gain attention, and become more popular than when you're distanced from it. Yet, when you're distanced from it, it becomes more of a business potential opportunity, you know. For instance, if I spent 5 or 7 years building up Dragonblogger and suddenly I didn't want to do it anymore, you know, what am I going to do with it? Just let it idle for 7 years? It's almost like it's a commitment that you can't get out of at some point. You know what I'm saying?
It's like a marriage.
Not that I want to, but yeah, exactly. It's a commitment.
You'd have to divorce your Dragonblogger self or something. Yeah, that seems really involved. I think it's so cool that your kids are getting involved in the creative aspect of having children grow up in this environment and learn the creativity. Well, they have the creativity, I'm sure, but I mean, learn how to actually use it. That's really cool.
Yeah, and they get to hands-on test some of the things. I've had products sent to me, like kids' tech gadgets and stuff like that, like RC helicopters and new ones and things like that, which I've let them test and gotten their feedback, and so it helps review. So, you know, I review kids' tech gadgets too. People, and it's funny because I had one video game reviewer a while ago who was looking to hire on the site, and he asked what type of games I was looking for, you know, what I want to site. So I'm like, you know, give a review of Pirate 101 or you know, Skylanders, some of that. But he wasn't interested in doing kiddish games reviews, right? He was interested in doing like, you know, the first-person shooters. I'm like, you know, I'm a family-friendly site, so I don't do really. I personally don't play the first-person shooter games. I do reviews about them from my staff writers, but I don't do them myself. I do more of the family-friendly games, you know, the ones that I could play with my kids, and they heavily game with me online. I game with them pretty much every night and every weekend and things like that. So it influences what I review on the site too, and what topics and products I put up on the site as well.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Justin, aka Dragonblogger, joined us today for an interview. Thank you so much for your time. We've enjoyed chatting and learning more about you and about your site and what you provide.
Thank you
very much.